Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this channel and another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast. Yes, we're here again. And yes, I'm here again talking about another defeat, of course, 5-1 at the hands of Liverpool today. One solitary Tottenham goal from Dominic Solanke. It gave us a bit of hope, but then Liverpool did what Liverpool do and ultimately handed them the title. Although that's our place in the league, which looks rather depressing, if you ask me, 16th with West Ham coming round the corner soon. And there's Liverpool confirming the league title today against us at Anfield. Some stats from the game today: 62% possession for Liverpool, 37% for Spurs. XG for Liverpool 2.14, XG for Spurs 0.37. That's terrible. 25 shots for Liverpool, 8 for Spurs. On target, 8 for Liverpool, 3 for Tottenham. Touches inside the box, 36 for Liverpool, 14 for Tottenham. Goalkeeper saves 2 apiece. Fouls, 16 for Liverpool, 9 for Spurs. And 8 corners for Liverpool and 2 for Spurs. With me today, I've got 3 very special guests as always. We've got Melvyn from Malta back with us. How are you, Melvyn?
I'm doing well. Other than the result, obviously, I'm sure we'll get into it. But honestly, it was a game that I didn't really care about. I mean, the league is done. Liverpool were always going to win, and we rested all of our players, and I'm sure we're going to get into it. But it was one of those games where I was numb through the whole thing. I didn't really care. When I celebrated the first goal, but didn't really care much about the rest. But I'm sure we're going to get into it.
We certainly will. And back with us, we got Johnny Bowe with us. How are you, Johnny?
Good. Yeah, good to be back. Look, another disappointing defeat, and obviously Liverpool played very well today, and they're deserving of the Premier League title. But we're way off the mark. Any other season, I think we could be relegated. Sam Allardyce was down there with a team trying to fight for 38 points. You'd fancy him over us at this stage. So I think we're very lucky that 3 other teams were worse than us. But it looks at this stage we're going to finish 4th from bottom, I would imagine. But look, we'll talk about the Bodo Glimt game, and we'll talk about the Liverpool game throughout the next hour or so anyway. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, I believe you, Johnny. I believe it. And last but not least, we got Leigh from New York back with us. How are Leigh? How are you, Leigh?
Hey, yeah, good to see you. Good to be back for the free therapy session that may or may not take the sting off what we just watched or the rest of the season. But excited to be with you guys.
Great. Well, before we get into it, Chris has got a quick message to tell you about a new app that you might want to download.
Hi everyone, before we get into it, I'd just like to tell you about a brand new app. It's called Match Bingo. You can play along with live sports and Spurs matches, and you could win cash prizes. Watch your card fill up in real time whilst watching Tottenham. Make sure that you get your bingo card for our next game. Click on the link in the description or via the QR code. Real sports, real bingo, great prizes. Enjoy.
It does actually look really good, and I can honestly say it is really good. If you want to download that app, the QR code is in the top right hand corner, and I'm sure every Spurs fan will fill up your bingo cards playing that game, because our matches are so eventful, as it was today. Melvyn, tell us about the game today. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, like I said before, I don't think I've ever watched the game where I cared so little. I thought the lineup was interesting. I thought he went too strong, to be honest. I would have rested more. I thought he could have started Richarlison, Kulusevski, potentially Odegaard, maybe played Mikey more. I thought there were too many strong, players we need on Thursday. Solanke, I would have rested. Madison, I would have rested. Honestly, the performances, other than the goal, which was a very well taken corner, and Liverpool are a team that make it very difficult for you to score. So when you score a goal against Liverpool, you really have to earn it. And I thought it was a really good taking corner. Solanke, nice header, very strong finish. other than that, not many positives. Don't really want to single players out, but Vicario I thought was really poor. I know Liverpool are a very difficult team to play. This is a team that's been playing together for the last 6-7 years. They have established Premier League, players that have been playing together for so long. Salah, and you have to give them credit. And happily for me, because I hate Arsenal so much, and they managed to take the league off of them. So in a way, I don't really have any beef with Liverpool. So today was one of those games where yes, we lost, but in a way, I'm happy for them because they won the league and Arsenal didn't. So it's that type of game. And all I think about is Thursday, because we're 1 game away or 2 games away from a potential European final, which is something very rare at this football club. So I've only seen one in my lifetime. So to have the opportunity or the possibility to be in another, honestly, this game will be forgotten, tomorrow. Even today, when I switched off the TV, this game will be absolutely forgotten. If we get to the final and somehow manage to win it, no one will ever discuss this game. No one will ever say, "Oh, we conceded 5 to Liverpool at Anfield," something that has happened to us many times this season. I was lucky enough to be there for the 4-0 defeat we got against them in the League Cup, and I thought, Liverpool outplayed us that game, and they've done it again. They're a really well-drilled team, and I think their midfield compared to ours is absolutely, immense. They move the ball so quickly, so sharply. They don't lose it. They protect it. And us, it just seems we're the exact opposite. Our midfielders quite easily lose the ball. We place players in difficult positions when they pick up the ball. We don't make it easy for ourselves. Like I mentioned before, Vicario kept putting our players under immense pressure. We lose the ball within seconds, and Liverpool kept coming, and we don't really make it easy for ourselves. Why? I don't know why Ange didn't go long today. Make it easy for our players. If we're going to lose the ball, might as well lose it up high up the pitch and maybe concede less. It's going to be interesting to see what excuse he's going to bring this time. Because he won't come out and say, "Listen, all our focus is on Thursday," because he'll want to say, "I want to win every single game," like he did last season when we played Manchester City. It's a strange situation to be in because I'm excited for Thursday, but at the same time, I'm really gutted about our season. So this is just how I feel at the moment.
Yeah. I think we're all gutted, Melvyn. That's for sure. Johnny, do you agree, Melvyn, that this game is a bit of a dead rubber and it's all about Thursday? Well, I do agree with that. I was a bit disappointed. Well, I was very disappointed with just the performance today because I just thought it was embarrassing. You can't just switch these things on, and momentum is. I've always said in football. I've played football. We've all played football. Momentum is a hell of a thing, and today is not going to help Thursday, is it?
Yeah, it's the worst preparation, Craig, heading into a semi-final. Winning your domestic matches, it gives you the real boost and the confidence that you can go out and perform well. So this doesn't fill me with any. This is the worst preparation you could have. 5-1 defeat, and then the humiliation of having to watch Mo Salah take selfies during the game. I thought that was very disrespectful of him to do it. After the game, fair enough, but doing it during the game, that just shows you how much respect he has for us. He has zero respect for Tottenham Hotspur. And to be honest with you, what would you expect? They're a disgrace of a team. I saw Maddison turn up before the game started, getting off the team bus, coming into the ground, the face on him, as if he playing the victim he was, even before the game started. I could tell, this is going to be a hammering. We're going to be destroyed today. There's a couple of spoofers in that team, and I think they're being found out. The manager is one of them. He hasn't got a clue. If we watched Eric Dyer in that interview with Gary Neville, Eric Dyer explained it well. He doesn't coach. He just teaches you a system. So he doesn't improve the players. They're not improving. Madison's not improving. Son didn't improve. Brennan Johnson's not improving. They're not improving. He's not a coach. He plays a system, and if you don't fit that system, it doesn't work. And today he was found out even more. He shouldn't be managing on Thursday night. He doesn't deserve it. I don't care. You know, we had Mourinho, one of the most highly decorated managers of all time. He wasn't even allowed manage against Manchester City in the final. How disrespectful is that to Mourinho? And then he's looking at this guy coming in. 23 matches lost in the Premier League. And we're supposed to let him manage the team on Thursday. It's going to be a disaster. This guy hasn't got a clue. That Bodo Glimt team are not that great. You know, a better Spurs side would beat them, and you'd fancy us. But this could go pear-shaped with this guy coaching. There's no defense. You know, if you're an opposition coach, you're going to be getting out the iPad. You're going to be going through all the strategies of how to beat the Spurs team. It's not that difficult. You just have to look at that game we watched. It's a disgrace. He shouldn't be in the dugout on Thursday. He should be given the P45 tonight, and good luck. Clear out your desk, and we'll bring in anyone. Bring in Robbie Keane. Bring in anyone. The legends would do better at this stage. Aaron Lennon, Robbie Keane, and the rest of them in the Legends game, they had an understanding. They knew what they were doing. This team were just 11 players. There's no understanding. They don't care. They look like they don't want to be there. And we have to, and the working class people in Tottenham going to pay fees to go and watch that crap. That's terrible. You shouldn't have to do that. That's a waste. Imagine paying your money to go and watch that nonsense. They're paid $100,000 a week, most of them, and they're performing like that. Couldn't even track back. You wouldn't have got that from Jermaine Defoe. You wouldn't have got that from Robbie Keane. You wouldn't have got that from Luka Modric. These players are not good enough, and they don't have a good enough coach. Coach is not good enough, and he should be gone tonight.
I have to say, just talking about the Mo Salah selfie, do you know what? If that was us in that position and it was Son and he grabbed my phone and took the pictures, that would have been pretty amazing, wouldn't it? But you're right. The banter shown, you know, they knew the game was won by then, and to do something like that, then, you know, it just kind of rubs it in, doesn't it? Leigh, what are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, pretty consistent. I mean, lambs to the slaughter springs to mind. The thing here in the US, you know, they get the feed from the Premier League, but I guess they can sort of skew it off. They literally didn't talk about any Spurs players in the pregame. They literally just went through all the Liverpool players. They showed them, and then maybe right before kickoff, they said who the Tottenham team was. So it's pretty embarrassing. I mean, I think I'm with Melvyn on the selection. I was surprised. I would have, might be heresy. I would have liked to see Timo Werner out there. I'd have liked to have seen Bissouma out there. Just save anyone that you think is going to start on Thursday.
Leigh, actually, while you're there, actually, let's talk about the lineup, seeing as he mentioned it. So
yeah,
we've got Vicario, Spence, Danzo, Davies, Udogie, Bergvall, Gray, Madison, Johnson, Solanke, Tell. Obviously, 8 changes, I think that was. So what would you have liked to have seen, or were you quite happy with that?
I was thinking that it would be Richarlison instead of Solanke. I was thinking Bissouma would have started probably instead of Bergvall. I think maybe the back four's about right. But I just didn't see. I mean, thankfully everyone came through well. I felt for Archie Gray. Everyone's been wanting him to play in centre midfield, but against the champions, I mean, he kind of got bullied, really. But I think my biggest worry was just how passive we were. It was as if we'd, like you said, when Madison was getting off the bus, I didn't see that, but I get the sentiment of just our defence is so passive. And it's embarrassing when you see us get caught on that long ball. And against Liverpool, I mean, they were like laughing. I mean, they literally were laughing. You could see as they were like 4v2 on us or something. So it doesn't matter. I think it's symptomatic of our season. I agree. It does not give us any momentum going into Thursday, because whilst we might start well on Thursday, it's only going to take a goal from them. And I think our confidence is going to crack really fast. I just would have liked to have seen Ange play kind of a bit more negative today, dare I say it. Sit a bit deeper, go a bit longer. And, you know, maybe it's a respectable 2-1. We probably still lose, but I don't see how that approach helped us in any way, shape, size or form. So yeah, more of the same, really, right?
Leigh, do you think, like Johnny, shouldn't even be given Thursday? Do you think Ange should go before that?
I'm totally Ange out. I'm there, but I think it's a lose-lose situation. Like if you get rid of him and we get knocked out, I think continuity at this point for the cup is probably all we have. But I get it. Like I don't disagree with Johnny's sentiment at all. But I think at this stage, unfortunately, it's like we're stuck with him for now, and he's probably our best chance in the sense of keeping some level of continuity. Makes sense to me, but he's got to be gone by the end of the season, in my opinion.
Melvyn, let's come to you about the starting lineup. I can see you actually shaking your head there. I think Ange should be given Thursday. I assume you're thinking as well.
Yeah, I just think, listen, it's crazy to sack a manager before Thursday. I mean, we've been working towards something. Obviously, it's not been working, but we've had good moments this season. I mean, yes, we're the lowest position in the league since 1993 and 2004, which is ridiculous to say. But in Europe, we do have a good record at the moment. We went to Frankfurt, we're a very good team, and managed to put a shift in with our best starting lineup. Today it wasn't anywhere near that. We've seen Romero and Van de Ven together, what they can do, and they're sometimes a cheat code to have them together. I think there's.
What did you make of that, Melvyn? What did you make of that lineup today? Would you want even more changes?
I thought the lineup was too strong. We were always going to lose, and even by that number, I would have honestly played a couple of youngsters, Mikey Moore, Bissouma, Richarlison. Why didn't we start with Richarlison? Kulusevski needs minutes, so I thought he should have started. He needs minutes in his legs. Kinski, play him again. Europe at the moment, Thursday is absolutely everything. I think Bodo Glimt, that game, it's going to be tough. It's going to be extremely tough, and it's going to be a challenge. But we need to be on top of it again. And I think we've been consistently very poor this season. We've not been consistent at all. But in one-off games, we've been okay. And I think with our best lineup and we have everyone fit and firing. And another thing, I think if Son doesn't play, I hate to say it, but I think we're a better team without him at the moment. Playing Tell on the left is better than having a half-fit Heung-min Son. I think mentally he's not there. I think the armband on him is too heavy. I think Son has been dragging us, even though he does get the odd goal contribution. I just haven't seen enough from Heung-min Son. And I thought Tell's energy and tenacity and he takes care of the ball more. He doesn't lose it as much as Son. And I think we have a chance. And listen, we're three games away from having the best season of my life, even though at the moment it's going to be a switch. The moment we're knocked out of Europe, the switch is absolutely off, and that light bulb is turned off, and he's done with this football club. But if he wins, which there is a chance, even though I'm not confident at the moment, and in the chat I'm quite vocal about this. I think Bodo Glimt will be a very, very, very difficult game and could be a banana skin. We need to take it as seriously as we can. I mean, they've taken out some serious opposition. They've taken out Lazio, a team that I've been so afraid of, and I thought they would win the Europa League. They were my favorites to win the Europa League. Lazio, they've been really good in Italy, even though they've struggled. It's a strange situation to be in because we're under a manager that everybody wants out, under a team that's underperforming. But then again, we're in the semi-final. It's difficult to not get excited at the same time. It
is weird.
The young Spurs fan in me, I haven't seen a trophy since 2008. And to be possibly in another final, in another European. I just get excited. I just go, all of a sudden I'm back to where Pochettino took us, to that European Cup run. That's what happened to me when we played Frankfurt, and when we beat them. I was speechless when I was talking to Barnaby on the chat. I didn't know what to say. It was just, I was buzzing inside. It was electric. I was so happy. I was happy all of a sudden. Honestly, it was a couple of games and I'll forget about the season. And all I want is for us to win a trophy. I think we haven't seen the good thing about this season. I saw Newcastle win a trophy and see some of the videos and pictures of them celebrating it, and it just for once it made me feel I really want to see Spurs do that, to give the fans joy and happiness and even some respect, because we've been getting knocked down too much by ourselves, by other Spurs fans, by rival fans, and we need this. I just feel that the club needs it, and especially us. I want to be in London and celebrate, winning a trophy together, and see how big our club is, because I really think we're a sleeping giant in that terms. I really want to see, the high road full of Spurs fans. I mean, the protests kind of showed us a glimpse of what we can be, how strong we are, how big we are as a group, and I just, all I think about is Thursday. I don't care about today. I don't care. Honestly, once I shut this laptop down, I'm not going to think about this game ever again in my life. And Ange Postecoglou has in his hands the power to do something quite special, because even though he could be sacked the next day, but he would give us something that we've needed for a very, very long time, which is a trophy, something make the fans happy. It's what we need. Honestly, we would have such a brilliant summer if we had a European trophy. It would make everyone a bit more calm. We'd all be, honestly, just we'll be stuck in another managerial search if when we sacked him. But at least we'll have something to smile about, honestly, because it's just to be this. The fans keep shouting, it's toxic, and I don't want to keep going through that. So for me to want to sack Ange now, before Thursday, after we did it to Jose, I think is absolutely madness. I just don't agree with it. Sorry, Johnny. I know. I've listened to you before. I know you have a strong opinion, which I like, and I like listening to fans that have a strong opinions. I myself have a very strong opinion, and Craig knows me quite well, and I sometimes argue with the guys on the podcast, internally in the WhatsApp chat. But it's just my opinion. I think it's madness to try to sack Ange. I think I was looking at flights for Thursday because the tickets got sold out immediately. I think this is going to be the biggest game of the season. The last previous biggest game of the season was Anfield, when we lost 4-0, when we nearly went to Wembley. So this is our cup final, quite literally.
Yeah, definitely, it is the biggest game of the season. It is a weird, like you say, it's it's like the league. I know the league and cup are completely separate, but it does just feel like two different almost teams, doesn't it? It's a weird sort of feeling, and all the eggs are certainly in that Europa basket. Johnny, you got anything to say about the starting lineup before we start talking about? We have got to go through the match, unfortunately, but have you got anything to add?
I mean, look, Solanke scored the goal, which I thought was great. Brennan Johnson, again, kind of not Tell offers something all right. I just think the defensive line's not good enough, and that's really where the weakness of Spurs is. And that's when I saw the team lineup, I kind of thought, well, we weren't going to win it before the game. I knew that, but I went with 4-1 prediction to Liverpool on Twitter about a half an hour before the match started, and it was just one more. But look, I don't know too much about Bodo Glimt, but it's going to be tough either way, because it's just, if we were defensively a bit stronger, you'd sort of be a little bit more confident. but it's just too big a weakness. And unless something improves over the next couple of days in that area, we're going to struggle. Now the only positive thing is that we do score goals, I suppose, and against a slightly weaker opposition, it might be more of a possibility to get 2 or 3 goals, and even if we do concede, we're still winning, if you know what I mean.
I think you're right.
That's the only way we can win this silverware. I think it's through our strikers and through scoring goals. Because if it's 0-0 and you're 80 minutes gone in Bodo Glimt, you'd fancy Bodo Glimt to nick it, because we just don't look. It's just, we're not going to be good in these kind of tight games. We just have to win it outright, emphatically win it. That's because I think these tight games. Yeah. We need to win 2-0 or 3-0 to be done with it, and then go to the next leg and continue on that way. But that lineup, it just shows you there's not much strength and depth in that team. And the people we were all told when the injured players come back, Greg, it's all going to improve. I remember being on a podcast, I got roasted on here. Oh, don't worry, when the injured players come back, it's all going to get better. They're back, and it's not getting better. So that was another spoof we were being fed. But look, it is what it is. I can't turn back the clock.
It's interesting you say that, because look, we're not going to face anybody in the Europa League as good as Liverpool, because we know who's left in, right? So that is a bonus, obviously. Obviously, today we just came up against the team that were going for the league, and they just wanted it more than us. It was embarrassing, really. Let's stay with you, Johnny. Obviously, early on, I didn't think Spurs started that badly. I thought Tell made a couple of decent runs. At least he was making a positive impact. Salah fired over for Liverpool, and Gakpo with an overhead kick on 10 minutes. And then, amazingly, Johnny, staying with you, this happened. Dominic Solanke scored a goal for Spurs, and thought it could we? What did you make of this? Yeah,
well, it was a great cross in, and he got up in front of all those defenders. I think there was 3 defenders around him, and he was able to head that in. And I thought, oh my God! Just for a moment, I thought, well, maybe the impossible could happen. But then you realise, no, it's Liverpool. They're 1-0 then. They're going to play even harder now to come back. But no, it was a well-taken goal, and to be fair to him, I was thinking of starting Richarlison on Thursday, but now that he's scored this goal, maybe give him a start. I don't know, it's but it was a great start, and they're the kind of goals we used to score, Craig. We used to score those type of goals years ago. The headers, we were good at the crosses and the corners. When Vertonghen and Alderweireld were there, we get those type of goals, but we kind of went off that with Ange Ball. And I think it's nice to see that was a kind of a goal that was kind of old Spurs, if you know what I mean. We were good at those type of things, so it was a good positive start. But then, Craig, and then Liverpool woke up. We woke up the sleeping giant, and anyway, but it started well anyway.
Let's exactly. Poke the bear and all that. Let's come on to you, Leigh, for this. We only held the lead for 14 minutes, and then Diaz scored his goal. So, what talk us through this? Is it the defensive errors again?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like they were targeting the left-hand side, probably because that's where Salah is. But it just seems to be such easy, you said we all played football back when we were at school or whatever, or university, and this was a classic 1-2 runners off the ball. It was easy for them. It was so easy. I didn't think it was offside. Super predictable. It was coming, and it was effortless for them.
Yeah, that ball through from Salah, I think it was really good ball. I mean, world-class player.
Yeah,
obviously Salah, and I mean, defensive position there. They got a decent line, but one ball splits them wide open, and nobody's tracking the runners. And it's a simple tap in the end. I kind of knew then. I don't know about you guys. Come on to you, Melvyn. I kind of knew that was really when that was our moment. If we'd managed to hold that lead till half time, we might have stood a chance to nick a draw. But Liverpool did what Liverpool do, don't they? And then what was it? 24. Gakpo scored again in between that time, but was actually offside. And then McAllister, 24 minutes, Melvyn. What was wrong with this?
I think Archie Gray had a really poor game. To be thrown in midfield in a position he's not played much at all this season, and to be played against probably the best midfield three in the Premier League. And just a bit of weakness, a bit of lack of strength, and to be muscled off the ball and to lose it in a position like that. Vicario was going crazy, which is Vicario should probably look at his own mistakes before when you point one finger, you usually have four pointing back. It's that sort of thing. Vicario is not perfect himself, so I thought defensively we didn't look very good, and
I think it was Tell. Was it Tell or Doggy played it into Archie Gray? Then Archie Gray seemed to be quite slow on the turn.
It was Tell.
Was Tell, wasn't it?
Should have. Archie Gray should have done better, I think, there with the ball to get muscled off it that easily.
Cracking strike though, Melvyn, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah. It was a good goal from Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool are a team that punish you time and time again, and you have to be perfect against them. And to get 3 points against Liverpool or even a draw, you have to be, on your game. You cannot make any mistakes. And with us this season, we've consistently made mistakes, and teams punish us quite easy. And a team like Liverpool, when they press you so tight, and they remind me of what we were under Pochettino. They suffocate teams, and they're on top of you, and they don't give you a second's rest. And if you make a mistake, they pounce on it, and they have people who are deadly, across the front. The front six are capable of scoring goals, and not on top of that, they have Trent, who has a wicked of a right foot, and then they have Van Dijk, who's he's a monster at the back. They're just a brilliant team, and sadly we're nowhere near that at the moment. If you look at our team and you try to assess it where we are against them, we have some young prospects who we're trying to bed into this team. We're playing players that we don't want, or some of them that we don't want, or they're on the bench, and they're not a settled squad. They haven't played much together. We've had players coming back from injury. We've had players that were overplayed. We had, we're a complete mess compared to Liverpool. Liverpool are the perfect example of how to operate as a football club, how to change managers and still be competitive, how to lose good players or sell good players and buy even better. They buy well, they sell well, and they improve from one year to another without angering the fan base much. They've won trophies, continue to win trophies, and be competitive, and they know which players to keep. They've just signed Van Dijk, on a long-term contract, and their best defender and ours is talking to other clubs, which is not a healthy situation to be in. Romero didn't play today, and he's our Van Dijk. So it's not a good situation to be in at the club. Not healthy for us. He's probably our best on paper, our best defender. And to have him, recently talk in an interview and say he wants to leave and go to Spain. I know he didn't say it, but he did hint it. If you look at the full interview, and there's reports of him saying yes to Atletico, which is probably something for another podcast. But it's just the difference between Liverpool and us at the moment. We cannot compete.
Huge.
We were
huge.
The difference is massive. We were never going to compete today. It's simple. There was always going to be one outcome, and them coming on top. It was never going to happen. The difference between the two clubs is laughable. And when you think in 2016-17, when we played at Wembley, we were quite close to them, if not better. in a period of how many years is that? 8 or 9 years, or getting there, or nearly 10 years now. They've completely, dwarfed us. They've won so many trophies since then.
They went out and got what they wanted, Melvyn. They went out and got Alisson. They went out and got Van Dijk. And it was, I think I read on X, actually, it's a perfect example. It's a sliding doors moment. It was almost that game. We were level with Liverpool, really. Probably a bit better, you could argue.
Yeah.
And we all know what happened. Johnny, just coming on to you. Cody Gakpo gets his goal on 34 minutes. What happened here?
Well, Gakpo was one of the players I tweeted about before the game started about him. I thought he was going to score, Luis Diaz as well. But look, once the ball is played into Gakpo, he knows where the goal is and he's able to find it, and he finds it through a very tight gap as well. Like if you try to do that shot a few times, you probably would miss. But they're so accurate, they're so confident, and he was able to just slot it past Vicario, who didn't have the best of games today. In fact, he hasn't been playing that great lately, and he's another. But you see, with a poor defense like that, how could the goalkeeper feel confident? He has to feel as if he's shielded.
He does, but it doesn't really show it well here. But Bergval's defensive header was appalling. I know he's, I'm not slagging off Bergval. I think he's been one of our better players this season, but that was dreadful. I mean, that header just went to the edge of the box.
Yeah, if you watch Van Dijk heading the ball out, he heads it to a Liverpool player, whereas our players were panicking and they were just heading it out. It could land anywhere. So at that level, when you head the ball, you're not just heading it out just to get rid of the ball. You're heading it to one of your teammates to hope that they can take it up the pitch, and that's what happened. Bergval, they're under terrible pressure, Craig. They're like that. Imagine playing Liverpool in that form in Anfield in front of the Kop with the sun belting down, 22 degrees Celsius. It must be really tough. And I know I'm hard on the Spurs team and all that, but they deserve it, to be honest with you. And I don't blame them fully. There's a lot of reasons why they're not playing well. But Bergval, heading it out like that, that's not good. But you have to look at the awesomeness of Gakpo and the rest of them, the way they're able to put the ball in the back of the net. As soon as they turn, they shoot. They don't fumble the ball. There's bang, bang. It's just in so quick. Yeah,
but, clinical, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. That was another goal anyway. So.
Yeah. Well, the second half ended. Tell had a chance at the back post. Was tackled, actually. I can't remember who it was. Canate, was it? I think that both got injured, didn't they? But that was the end of the first half. We've got Angie's presser. It's 2.5 minutes long. Let's see what Ange had to say after the game today.
Can you just get your thoughts first of all on the result of the performance?
A credit to Liverpool. Worthy champions, and they've been the outstanding team all year. Consistent, and again today, they obviously, I thought we started the game well and sort of made things difficult for them. Even apart from the goal, I just thought in general we sort of had decent territory, but once they got in front with the atmosphere in the stadium, fair to say it was going to be difficult for us to claw them back, and that's how it proved.
And how much of a concern is it, Ange, that you seem able to produce these performances against Brentford, which was really impressive? You made changes in the league, and it looks like the team just isn't able to compete in the same way.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy on the players because if you look at sort of Liverpool's lineup, you could almost pick it, on a weekly basis. I have made a lot of changes, but I just felt they've been necessary. There's been a lot of our players who've missed a lot of this season with injuries, and it wasn't just about bringing them back, but managing their minutes because, obviously we want them ready. So, guys like Mickey and Romero today could have played, but they've missed so much of the season that, just got to be really careful about when we use them. Guys like Pedro, Bentancur, obviously played a lot this year. It's been a juggling act for sure, and that hasn't helped the team, hasn't helped the players, and when you're facing the best, you pay that price.
Did you come through with a clean bill of health?
Yeah, no, and everyone's good. The ones who played all got through it okay, and so in terms of Thursday, everyone should be fine.
Is is any part of your job lifting the squad now before Thursday? Do they know,
No, I don't think so. I think they're well aware of it, and like I said, that we had some key players missing today who I think will come in and sort of make sure that there isn't any sort of any hangover from today. Look, we knew the challenge today was going to be a big one, especially like I said. I mean, we had really young midfield with Lucas and Archie, and you're asking a massive task of them, and so change 3 of the back 4, all these kind of things logically tell you it's going to be a tough day, but when you're facing the best team and on such a massive occasion, it was always going to be a huge ask for us and prove too much.
Okay, thank you.
Leigh, is it fair to say in that press conference that Ange basically admitted that this game didn't really mean much to him?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I struggle to listen to him now. Unfortunately, I said previously, it's kind of like a fish milkshake. You just can't finish it. I want to listen to what he's got to say, but it's so uninspiring. But I think it was, the mindset was a sort of defeatist one. And it's quite peculiar because he's sort of on the one hand saying, I made these changes. He's kind of inferring that I made these changes because of Thursday. But then he sort of seems to spin it round to be like an excuse. Like, well, I had to make these changes and Liverpool had a consistent team and we didn't. So I start to just get a bit frustrated with him because I'd rather, in a way, that he came out and just said, look, today was, almost just about giving people minutes and it's all about Thursday. But he's sort of he's speaking out of both sides of his mouth a little bit, but maybe what else is he going to do? But I think he was completely resigned to today being a loss and it also not mattering, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's exactly what I feel, actually. Well, second half started with Maddison and Gray going off and Sarr and Kulusevski coming on, obviously trying to get Kulu some minutes. You'd think he would be starting on Thursday, which we'll come on to. 54th minute, McAllister fired wide. Liverpool well on top at this stage. Danto had a weak shot that went wide. And then just staying with you, Leigh, let's get through these goals. Salah
Which
gets
one
his
was
goal.
this? They look the same, don't they?
This was Salah's goal, the fourth one.
Yeah, this was like a FIFA goal, wasn't it? It was like when you see someone playing FIFA and it just like tap, tap.
Yeah, so obviously goes wide to Salah. Familiar move we've seen many times. Salah cuts in on his left foot and fires it into the bottom corner.
I think Vicario's a little bit of fault again, and we're picking on Vicario a bit today, but I think since he's come back, he's been poor. And his positioning, I mean, he's quite central there, but I think pretty much all of us knew what Salah was going to do. I mean, it takes some stopping, of course, but I sort of, I mean, a doggy showed him inside, which is what you want to do, I suppose. But, well, actually, maybe no. Maybe you want to show him outside because he's left-footed. But, I just thought it seemed like a super predictable goal.
Yeah. But as I say, we've seen it so many times. You keep Mo Salah off his left foot. Obviously does that to you, doesn't he? Where are we? Right, okay. 68th minute, Solanke and Tell went off for Odegaard and Richarlison. What were you thinking at that point, Melvyn? Just because of obviously a minute later, we get this. What happened here, Melvyn?
I don't remember this goal.
Let's not talk about it. It's the Odogi own goal. So it was,
right.
Yeah.
So if he's not touched it, would have that been an offside then?
Yes, I think Salah was offside, but I think he was interfering. Of course, by that stage, it didn't really matter because we'd lost the game. But again, Liverpool's build-up play. We've actually got a fair few players back there, but they just tore us apart again, didn't they?
Like I said before, Liverpool moved the ball so quickly, so efficiently, and they, on contrast, were the exact opposite to Liverpool. We struggle to break teams down, and they find it so easy. And I think they've scored the most goals against us this season, I believe. If I saw that correctly on Sky. Just our midfield is quite easy to penetrate to. There's no spine in the team. There's no strength. There was no willingness to run, especially the 70th minute. And it's not, honestly, there's not much to talk about in the second half. I just wanted the
No,
game to finish. I didn't want us to concede the 6th or a 7th. So to be at 5, it's still poor, and I'm not happy. But it's like I said, this game, I'll forget about it tomorrow, and everything's about Thursday. I'm just gonna keep saying that until.
Let's jump on to Thursday, Melvyn, because not much happened.
Yeah.
We'd given up by that stage, and Liverpool win the title, and that's all you can say about today's match. So let's come on to the big game on Thursday against Bodo Glimt. Before we do, just a quick reminder, don't forget to get your match bingo cards for our next game. You can use the QR code in the top right-hand corner of the screen to download it, or use the link in the description. Get involved and enjoy this new form of sports betting. It is good fun. Melvyn, Thursday, so a massive game. What changes do you think Angie's going to make? What sort of formation do you think he's going to go with? And have we, like most of us are saying, have we got to get 2 or 3 goals up in this game?
Yeah, we have to. I mean, if Lazio taught us anything, is that it's difficult to play them away on a 3G pitch. They've beaten quite strong teams. I think this is the first leg. They have three players suspended, which will be in our favor. We need to win the first game, like you said, score 2-3 goals ahead. We have to. It has to be one of those type of games where, how Angeball used to be in the past, quite fast, high, energetic football. It will be a tough game. And the lineup, I think, picks itself. I think, Bentancur comes back in, hopefully Madison, Bergvall, Udogi, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven. Tell, I would play on the left. I don't know what Son's condition is going to be like, if he's going to be able to make it on the bench. And Solanke and the right will be interesting, because is he going to play Kulusevski? Is he going to play? I don't know if you can hear that.
Yeah, okay.
There's fireworks going around here at the moment. There's a fireworks festival.
Oh,
and
right.
Liverpool fans, is
it? No. So the lineup's going to be interesting. Who's he going to play on the right? Is it going to be Kulusevski or the Bear or Johnson? But he has options for the first time in a long time, so he cannot make excuses. Now the players are fit, and they've had a good 2-3 solid weeks of training. So we need to see improvement on the pitch. And Bodo Glimt, I mean, we a lot of fans were rubbing, their hands together when we got them. They're not in a massive league. We should be able to beat this team home and away, regardless. We have full international players playing. These players play for their countries. We should be beating this team. Yes, we won't take it lightly, but for Thursday, at home especially, with the TIFO going on, with all the flags, with all the atmosphere that's going to be going on, I believe, Craig, you're going to the game.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone else is going to the game. I really want to see, another magical night, a great atmosphere, something that we've lacked this season. I'm not blaming the fans for it, because it's difficult to have a really, really amazing atmosphere when we kept losing this season, continuously. No.
Melvyn, give us a score prediction for Thursday. Come on, be brave. Give us a score prediction.
Thursday. It needs to be a high-scoring game. It needs to be. I don't think we need to keep a clean sheet. I think against Frankfurt that was important. That was vital. Scoring early would be important, because the earlier we score, we'll get the fans going, we'll get confidence going. if we score one early, we might get another. And with our bench as well, you could do 5 subs and keep the energy levels high. I'll be extremely positive and say, you might call me deluded because I have no evidence to say this, because I'm going to say 3-0 Spurs. But on the evidence of we've had this season, it won't be. It'll probably be a 1-0. It'll probably be a 1-0 or a 1-1, and we'll have to do it the hard way, because we always,
we always
Spurs.
do.
We always do it the hard way. But I'm gonna be positive and say 3-0. But at the same time, I'm quite worried. And with Spurs, we always do things the hard way.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think Bodo are going to be a pushover at all. But I think if we get 1, we get 3. I do. But Johnny, what's your thoughts on Thursday? What sort of lineup do you think we'll go for, and give us a score prediction?
Well, I think it'll be Van de Ven back in. Hassan is doubtful because of his injury. He may not play, for the rest of the season. I don't know. It just seems to be there's not much talk about him. Bentancur will be back in. Defensively, that's my worry. Will Jed Spence play? I don't know. Maybe Jed. You might put Jed in. I don't know. I know he scored. Was it who scored the own goal today?
Udogie.
Udogie. No, okay. So I think Jed is worth putting in. Also, I would probably start Richarlison, maybe against instead of Solanke. I know Solanke scored, but I just think Richarlison looked a little bit more lively when he came on, and in the game last week as well, he looked as if he could cause problems, and I think he scored as well. So I would start with him. Prediction wise, I will say Spurs 2, Bodo Glimt 1, and then I think it's going to be squeaky bum time when we go to their place to see what happens there. Final could be, is the final being played in Atletico Bilbao Stadium? Is that correct? Is that where the final? Yeah. So if they get past Manchester United, which you probably fancied them to do, they will be playing at home in the final. So even if we do get past Bodo Glimt, it's still going to be a tough. Imagine in your front of your own fans, the effort you'll give to win that. So that's benefiting them. But look, I mean, you never know what you're going to get with Spurs. Remember in the Forrest Gump film, life is a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Unless it's Cadbury Roses, you know what ones you're going to get. You're going to get the purple one, or you're going to get the toffee one. Come on. But it is true. You don't know what you're going to get with them. They could come out and win 4-0, and then we're all feeling great. And then they could easily lose 2-0. You just don't know, and you couldn't bet on them to either way, because you just don't know. But okay, look, I don't sit on the fence, so I'll say 2-1 to Spurs. Okay, that's what I think. But it may, as Melvyn said, it may be the reverse. Could be 1-2. You just don't know. But we're well able to beat this team. It's just I'm just not sure about the way he plays. Even today, I think Leigh, you said you were surprised how he didn't kind of close things down, or maybe Craig, you said how he didn't, play more defensively. But he can't. He only knows the one system. And it's open, and it's fly forward. And if the opposition get you on the counter, that's the risk we'll take. And it's just too Russian roulette type of football for me. And that's why he's been found out in the Premier League, 23 losses. And even if we did win the silverware, as great as that is, and I'll be first person celebrating it, you still can't forget that we're in 16th place in the league. At least Eddie Howe won the FA Cup, and his team are going to finish in the top 6. That's what we should be doing. But we don't have that type of manager. We've somebody we took a punt on because he did well in Scotland. But sure, Brendan Rodgers could keep winning for Celtic every year. I'm not being disrespectful, but it's not as strong as the Premier League.
I think you're right saying about the Melvyn said about the comparisons to the Champions League season. The difference then, of course, we finished 4th that year, and the league campaign's been horrendous, hasn't it? Leigh, finally for you, what do you think the team's going to look like Thursday, and give us a score prediction?
Yeah, I think the team will be like it was for Frankfurt, pretty much. I don't know about the score. It's I tell you what it should be. I mean, it should be 3 or 4-0 if you look at it on paper. What worries me is we have a classic situation of we're a bunch of individuals and they're a team. They really don't have any star players, not really. But they're a really cohesive unit, what I've seen of them, and they don't play with any fear. And they look like they're coached, and they look like they have a system. My heart says 3-1. But I worry that somebody in the chat, you put it up, said they'll probably come for a draw. And then away on a plastic pitch, like, who knows? So my heart says we're going to get through this, and we'll show up, and we'll go in with a 2, maybe 3 plus goal into the second leg, and then perhaps we draw that second leg or maybe even lose it by 1 goal. But unfortunately, I think we're also bruised and hurt and cynical that I can't make a prediction. But let's just be honest, we should be beating this lot. As for the final, yeah, I think, Athletic went at home, or even Man United, who just obviously have a great pedigree, even though they're as bad as we are. I think we're a long way from winning this thing, but we should be getting to the final. We really should.
We should, because if you'd said to us back in August, right, you're in the Europa League, you qualify, blah, 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 and you're going to play a team called Bodo Glimt in the semi-final, with all due respect, you would take that when you bite their hand off. And, and the club, to be fair, like Melvyn said, with the TIFO going on, and apparently every fan's going to get a flag to wait, trying to get the atmosphere big for Thursday, because they're not going to bring a load of fans over. They're not. So, that place is going to be packed. The tickets were sold out within hours. It's going to be full capacity stadium. We just need the fans to get behind the team, get through this, and then, like I say, a one game shootout if we get through this tie, and anything can happen.
Well,
guys, I know
their whole town in our stadium, right? And if you just take away, if you just think about adult men, you could that's probably the away end. I mean, there's only 40,000 in the whole town. Town, so
their stadium is less capacity than at Lake Norient, and I've been to Lake Norient. I love going to Orient, but it is a smaller stadium, and that's what we're going to be up against on a plastic pitch. So, but I think we do need to take a lead to Norway, guys, and everyone watching. It's a shorter podcast than normal tonight. For obvious reasons, talking about that. We didn't want to sit here and talk about that all night, but I hope it's been a bit cathartic for you and you've enjoyed it. 1,500 of you watching us, so thank you very much. Melvyn, thanks for joining us again. Where can people find you and what you're up to at the moment?
You can find me. My username is written here, Instagram and X. If you're a Spurs fan, I usually follow back. Yeah, not much. I recently moved out from my house into my own flat, getting married soon. Quite busy doing that. And enjoying a bit of sun. Here in Malta it's quite warm, playing a bit of football, and not much else. Looking forward to Thursday. Was considering quite hard, flying to London for the game. But the tickets sold out quite quickly and wasn't able to buy any.
I'm sure you get one on the exchange, Melvyn, if you really want to try and come over. But like you say, they did sell out very quickly, which is not a surprise. Johnny, thanks for coming back. Where can people find you and what you're up to?
Well, I'm on X, Johnny Bowe 1. You can follow me there. And I'm also on Dublin's Q102, presenter on there as well during the week, q102.ie if you want to check out the website. And that's pretty much it. Come on, you Spurs.
Thanks, Johnny. And finally, Leigh, what are you up to and where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, MC Leigh. Not up to that much. Thankfully, spring is showing up here in New York. I did just pay for Oasis tickets on the exchange for the MetLife in September, so that's kind of hurting my credit card pretty severely. So I won't tell you what I paid, but it was pretty nasty. But it's Oasis, got to go do it. So yeah, no, not much really, but looking forward to the longer evenings and sunnier days. And Thursday blocked out my calendar. My boss doesn't know that yet, and hopefully I can at least watch it from work.
Well, let's all hope for a win on Thursday. As we've said, biggest game of the season. What Tottenham are going to show up. Let's hope it's a good Tottenham. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next one. Until next time, come on, you Spurs.